This video is designed to show you how to pull data from your QuestionPro survey into an Excel spreadsheet and manipulate the Excel spreadsheet and get ready for our data analysis. So the first thing you do is select the survey that you're interested in downloading your data from. You'll see the questions here. If there's a drop-down menu up in the upper left called Data Management, and then you click Export Data. The first option is exporting to Excel, which is what we want to use. I do want to caution you, however, if you scroll down, there is a way to export or download data directly into SPSS. It appears as if it's a shortcut, but it actually is much more complicated and causes all sorts of problems in data analysis. So the best thing to do, and my recommendation, is that you export the data into Excel, and then we'll manipulate the Excel file and then be able to pull that Excel file into SPSS. So click the blue button for download. You'll see over here on the right, they'll give you a link to the Excel spreadsheet that you can click. They also send you an email with the file attached. So then you can open up your Excel file, and you'll see there's a variety of information here. There's a lot of tabs that you will have with the data when you download it. The tab that we're most interested in is the raw data tab, and you'll be able to see all sorts of information here and all the responses. These are the responses that survey subjects had with your survey. A couple of things I want you to do. First of all, columns A through E are bits of information that are important to keep, but we don't like them at the start of our survey. So what I ask students to do is remove them, cut them from the start of the survey, and paste them at the end of the survey. So we have the data saved, but we don't need to use it up here in the front. You can then delete all of the columns leading all the way up to the very first question of your survey. So you can see the introduction is here as a column that I'm going to delete. There's no data related to the introduction paragraph on my survey, so I delete all of those columns, and what I'm left with, the first column is the first question on my survey. Now you'll notice up here in the first two rows there's a variety of numbers and bits of information that QuestionPro pulls in for us. It's not exactly in the format that we want, so this is a bit of a laborious process that we have to go through to tell our Excel spreadsheet exactly what each question number is on our survey, so we have an accurate way to use these within our SPSS data file. So what we like to do is from our survey that we have used, we have to number every single question correctly. So for the survey that you took, that you see the data for here, there was a series of questions asking students how satisfied they were with various aspects of their life. There were 6 different questions, and I grouped these together as question 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, etc. And so what I need to do on my Excel spreadsheet is label those with a first row of information to name them Q1A, 1B, 1C, etc. And what this does is it allows us to then have a better handle on our data analysis when we're using SPSS. So we go through, label each of those first questions. The second question on our survey was a set of things that related to how important various aspects of activities are to us. This was actually question 2, so we do the same thing here that we did with question 1. So we label them question 2A, B, C, D, E, and F. The third question, you see that the numbering is wrong from QuestionPro, so we have to be careful with this. The third question on my survey was how many units are you taking this semester, so that is simply question 3. And then this is where we have to be careful as well. The fourth question on my survey was a rank order question. As you remember from rank order questions, those are a series of individual questions. So it was actually question 4A, question 4B, question 4C, question 4D, question 4E, and question 4F. You'll notice that QuestionPro has used up 2 rows here. We'll get rid of that second row in a minute. But we have to go through the entire survey. The 5th question on my survey had to do with the overall GPA, so that's simply question 5. I'm going to pause the video here and go through and fix all of the column headings so you can see what's happening. So what you can see here is I've gone through the entire first row of my Excel spreadsheet, and I've labeled all of the questions Q4A through 4F. Here's question 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Each column corresponds to a specific question on my survey, and then out here you see the data that I copied and pasted at the end of my spreadsheet. The other thing I like to do is I like to highlight all of my data columns in my Excel spreadsheet, and I like to double click on the right of these to make the Excel spreadsheet a little bit easier to manage. We don't need this second row. This was some data pulled in by QuestionPro, so you can delete the second row. of your survey. And then at this point, let me try this again. If I highlight all the columns of data, I can actually reduce all of them to be a much more manageable set on my screen. So what you see here now are all the data responses. Don't worry too much about these responses up at the top. Those were surveys that were done earlier. I could delete those. You will probably have something that looks much more like the bottom half of this screen. In addition, all these blanks here correspond to a series of questions that I didn't ask the first semester I collected data on this particular survey. So you see at this point, this is where students started answering these questions down at the bottom. And so here down at the very bottom of my survey, you see all the data corresponding to your responses for the survey. So at this point, our data is ready for us to pull into SPSS. But before I do that, one of the challenges that we have in Excel, all these different tabs cause problems when we try to download this file into SPSS. So what I like to do is once I've cleaned up my data, I highlight all of the columns that are here on this spreadsheet, and I copy them, and then I open up a new blank document or blank workbook. And then I copy and paste the entire workbook that I had. So I paste the entire new workbook into a blank worksheet that doesn't have all the tabs. This is just one worksheet with all of my data. And then at this point, I would give it a file name, raw data, something that your group knows you have, and then you're able to pull your data into SPSS. And I'll show you how to do that on our next video, which is step number 1, data analysis, and we'll talk more about that in class. But this video has summarized how you pull your data out of Question Pro and get it into Excel in a format that's ready for data analysis.